Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Curseof and welcome back to another video. I've been doing pretty good with these videos lately, getting them out bi-daily, which is pretty awesome. But regardless, today we are here to do the breakdown / analysis for my August 2020 tournament. So my August 2020 tournament was the very first tournament that I hosted for the post Yugioh format, and was the 4th tournament to finish up overall for this format. This tournament had 40 players participating in it, and yeah, I mean, the turnout might actually intrigue some of you if you haven't been following the tournaments overall throughout this format so far. So you know what? Why don't we just quickly get into this breakdown here? So first off, I'm going to bring up a list here of all the decks that were played in the tournament. So as you guys can see, there was 10 Dark Moth decks, 6 Conflict Warrior decks, 6 Twisted Warrior decks, 3 Spellproof decks. I mean, you know, it kind of makes sense. Spellproof with Yugioh, a lot of people are looking into it. 3 Insect Stall decks, which is kind of showing up, you know, it was actually a top cut list in the very first tournament of this format. We have 2 Relinquish deck, got some people trying those out. 2 Burn decks, which is very, very interesting to see. Burn was kind of thought to be dead, but we got a couple showing up here. We have 1 Warrior Moth deck, 1 Pure Insect deck, so different than Insect Stall, 1 Dark Conflict deck, 1 Amazonas deck, 1 Stall deck, 1 Gaia deck, and 1 Black Luster Soldier deck. So this overall breakdown probably doesn't surprise most of you. You know, you have your big contenders here. Obviously 10 of them being Dark Moth, as that is what was known to be the best deck in the previous format. Pretty fair to assume it's going to be the best deck of this format. Also working its way up, we have Conflict Warrior. Also not that surprising. I mean, Yugioh's added to it. It basically just got a huge buff and is able to OTK a lot more consistently. Twisted Warrior showing up at 6. It did top the very first event of this format. Actually got first place in that event. And yeah, I mean, me and Terramaster said it was a tier 2 contender in the format. So yeah, not really that surprising to see it also match the Conflict Warrior. 3 Spellproof also topped the first event of the format. Good deck. 3 Insect Stall also topped the first event. So you see a lot of people looking at kind of that first event as okay, what am I gonna play here? Because a lot of the decks that topped that first event of the format are showing up here for the August 2020 tournament here. Then we see some lesser known decks, some very interesting decks. Dark Conflict has shown up a good few times in the last format, and once again showing up in this format, trying to still steal one of those top slots. We have our Gaia, trash tier. We have our Black Luster Soldier. I would normally name this Ritual Black Mastery, but they actually didn't use a skill. They used BLS Ritual Ceremony. Very interesting deck. Pretty cute, but a very rogue tier, low tier strategy. So yeah, naturally didn't top. But speaking of the top cut, why don't I go ahead and get this pie chart up here for you guys so you guys can check out the top deck lists for the tournament. Alrighty, so now that you guys can see the pie chart here, we have a very interesting top cut for this tournament. Honestly, I was super shocked to see what decks topped, and I was super excited. In fact, some of you guys might not even know what some of these monsters actually mean over on the pie chart here. So why don't I break it down for you guys? So first off, we have something that probably everyone expected to see in the top cut here. We have 25% Dark Moth, or 2 Dark Moths chilling in our top cut. Like I said, not that surprising. We also have 2 Conflict Warriors chilling in the top cut here. Also not that surprising, as these are any Moth variant and the Conflict Warrior variant are probably the 2 best decks of the format. So yeah, not surprising to see these 2 taking up 50% of the top cut here. But then we get into some more interesting stuff here. So let's go ahead. We got 1 Spellproof Armor. Hell yeah, we do. Shout out to Spellproof Armor. Spellproof Armor is absolutely killing it this format. Honestly, I think it's a very solid contender. With Yugioh being added to the deck, So yeah, very nice to see Spellproof showing up here. We then actually have one Dark Conflict deck. That is what the Nudoria stands for there. And yeah, like I said, Dark Conflict was constantly fighting, constantly trying to grab a top cut slot, but just missed out just barely multiple times last format. But we finally see someone sneaking into that top cut with their Dark Conflict build. Very, very nice to see that here. We then have our stall build as the Mask of Darkness here, stall slash burn, I guess you could call it. Yeah, so stall is able to top again. Very, very nice. And then we have a Amazonas deck also chilling in the top cut here. That's crazy. This is amazing. Like, we're seeing so many like different decks topping, and in my opinion, I think we have a very, very diverse and decently healthy format currently. Like, nothing is like crazy overpowered. Yes, you're gonna have strategies that just don't work. That's Yugioh. You're not gonna have every deck be good, but no, like we have like a few decks that are actually good, and then we have a few rogue strategies that also have potential to top, which is I think is a very healthy format. Very, very nice to see. And I mean, seeing 6 different decks top a tournament, a 40-player tournament at that, is extremely, extremely cool. So yeah, very, very nice to see this. But why don't I just start showing you guys these deck lists? Alright, here we go. We got the top cut deck list here for you guys. First off, we have the stall build coming up for you guys. One of the top 8 lists here. This was played by SDL Killa. He's actually brand new to Speed Duels, and that is why he's only running 5 cards in the side and 5 cards in the extra. He actually didn't know he could have 6. So yeah, huge shout out to him for being brand new to the game and showing up in the top cut of my tournament. That is phenomenal. Like, fantastic job, man. Huge shout out to you. But let's go ahead and look at your deck here. So we have 3 Taquachis. Okay, you know, some draw power there. 3 Apprentice and 2 Old Vindictive. That's going to make the Apprentice engine here. Nothing crazy there. You know, it's a more stall burnish build. So having cards like Apprentice Magician to stall is going to be very, very important. Mask of Darkness, another flip effect monster, allows you to recycle your traps. Traps are going to be super important in this. We have a Copycat. That's pretty cute. And Lava Golem, also very, very standard. Triple Allure, as the entire top row of monsters is dark monsters, so lots of targets there. Triple Nightmare Wheel, 100% necessary for burn. Triple Zoma and Double Dust. Nothing here is super, super crazy. Feels like a pretty, pretty standard burn strategy overall. The Copycat's very interesting, and I guess it's not a standard burn strategy, not exactly what we've been seeing last format, but it's not something that's like unheard of, except for the Copycat. Copycat is super cute. Really like that though. Really, really like it. I wonder if it came up at all. But yeah, just personality, this skill. That's not weird at all. Going off to the side deck here, we have a Jinzo. Very, very interesting. 2 copies of Offerings to the Doomed. I think every single deck should have Offerings run in it in some capacity. So siding it, fantastic. And 2 copies of Golden Apples. Yeah, helps him get counters. He gets decent sized monsters on the field potentially. Yeah, good card, good deck. It was able to top. You know, I think it's kind of cool to see a burn deck show up in the top cut here, or a stall burn strategy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see it. It did really well. It went 4-2 in Swiss, and it did get knocked out in the top cut here, but you know, that's all you can do sometimes. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next deck list here. So next off, we have the deck that I was most excited to see top this tournament, and that is the Amazonas deck here, running the Inner Conflict skill, because why would you not run Inner Conflict in this deck? Like, treat it like a Conflict Warrior deck with Amazonas. Anyway, who cares? This is Amazonas. This is super, super cool. We have 2 Jinzos here. I'm a little bit iffy on 2 Jinzos. I think if you're running a Conflict deck of any kind, you should run 3 Tribute Monsters to maximize how often you're going to see them. That's just me. Triple Swordswoman, that is very, very standard. I think you always max out on a Swordswoman in these Amazonas builds. Double Trainee to help stop some of the in-grave effects that are going to trigger. Makes sense, makes sense. And Sage, back row hate, it can out Zomas, it can out Nightmare Wheels, it can pop back row. not that hard to understand. Overall, really, really good card. 2 copies of Village. I think that makes sense. You know, probably 1 to 2 copies of Village. Yeah. 2 copies of Heirloom, I'm a bit iffy on. I don't think I would have ran 2 copies of Heirloom myself. Probably 1 at most. My issue with Heirloom is if you summon a monster and Heirloom it, then if your opponent drops an Offerings on your monster, you're basically going -1 off of their Offerings, and suddenly their lack of draw in the following turn doesn't matter as much because they were able to neg you off of their Offerings activation. That's why I'm very, very iffy on the Heirloom equip card, and equips overall. It's just like they go so neg, and it's very, very hard to warrant running them for me personally. But it panned out for him. We also have the 1 half shut and the 1 Offerings. You got to run Offerings to some capacity. Double Dust, double Prideful. You got to run Prideful. Are you not running? Are you not playing Moth? That's my first question. Are you not playing Moth? Okay, good to know. Are you playing Conflict Warrior? No? Okay, also good to know. Are you playing Prideful in your deck? Prideful is phenomenal. This is like literally the best Moth out in the format, in my opinion. Like, if you have a Prideful for a Moth, you are actually like living it up. Like, you are vibing. Like, that is such a good card. It is the Moth out that doesn't make you go neg. Life points are a resource. Spend them. Moth isn't gonna burn you. What, they got a wheel? Who cares about their wheel? Pop their wheel before it's useful. Run Dust Tornado. Pop the wheel. Literally, Prideful Roar, best Moth out. Seeing this in a top cut deck, running it at 2. Thank you so much, Unfair Justicar. Great job. Prideful Roar. Good man. Anyway, 2 copies of Zoma. It's Zoma. You gotta run Zoma. And 1 copy of Amazon's Archers. Actually, I think that just makes your opponent's monsters attack. I guess it works with Swordswoman and Zoma? I don't know. I've never seen it run. I've never been a big fan of it. I don't know if it worked out for him or not at all in the tournament. But interesting trap to see for sure. Moving on to the side deck here, DD Crow. I mean, it's okay. Double Offerings, you need Offerings. 1 Aerosol. I could see Aerosol potentially in this deck because of stuff like Village, and if you have multiple monsters already on field, then getting Parasited, and you know, you have backups, so chances are you're actually going to be able to live the double Moth and you'll be able to respond with an Aerosol. So I think it makes sense, actually. I think the Aerosol makes sense in this deck. Warrior Limb, a lot of people are citing this for the Conflict Warrior matchup. I actually don't know how good it is in the Conflict Warrior matchup. I'm actually starting to lean away from it, for me personally, but that's just my opinion. And the third Prideful, probably for Moth. Prideful, too good. And yeah, there's an extra deck there. It's not the standard. I don't think so. Actually, I can't blame SDL Killer because he didn't know he could run 6. Anyway, next deck list. So here we go. We got the Dark Conflict deck that managed to top this event, chilling here now. And yeah, the guy that actually used this to top is Judgment Gaming, JDG Justice here. He runs the Judgment Duel series, the one that I got second place with Relinquished and topped with Spellproof. Yeah, fantastic guy. And he was able to go ahead and pull off a nice little top here with a Dark Conflict deck. Very, very nice to see. I think a big thing about his Dark Conflict deck, which I mentioned to him by the way, and the difference between Dark Conflict decks in the previous format that were just barely able to scrape into that top 8 and never did manage to get a top, is that he ran triple Gearfried. I don't know why the Dark Conflict decks haven't been running triple Gearfried, but I think that's that big thing that they're missing, because like you still have to treat it as like a deck that's goal is the OTK, like Conflict Warrior, so you still need another monster that can get you to that OTK potential besides Zoma, especially with Jinzo, definitely besides Zoma. And yeah, Gearfried is that other monster. Along with that, it's a way to go aggro against Moth. I think Gearfried is super, super necessary in this deck, and I think the fact that he ran Gearfried was the reason that his deck performed better than all the previous Dark Conflict decks, because I have not seen them running Gearfried. I think that's a mistake. Triple Jinzo. You're running Conflict, run Triple Jinzo. Go to town. Double Takoichi, double Nidoria. Those are dark targets. They're the best ones, except for Sphere Kribo. He's the very best one. Best card. Fantastic. Gotta have those hand traps. Triple Allure, consistency. Triple Offerings because you need to run it. Triple Dust and Triple Zoma. All that is, yeah, they're all just really, really good staple cards. Naturally, the Interconflict skill here. Then we have double Old Vindictive, which he said actually came up a lot for him. So, yeah, Old Vindictive, good card. The one DD Crow. Once again, it's good against Relinquished. In the side deck, I don't know. I wouldn't run it. Twister. I mean, Twister is a really, really good card. I mean, it's more back removal. It's back removal that works alongside Jinzo. So good to side in versus Moth, potentially. And one Warrior Limb. People really want to take care of those Conflict Warrior matchups. Prideful Roar. Let's go. Best Moth answer. You gotta run Prideful Roar. If you're not, you gotta run it, man. Not the standard extra deck, but like, you know, I guess whatever. Next deck list. Alright, well, I've gone through most of the deck list that I wanted to praise up now. Dark Fighter, great job of making it into top 8, but you're playing Dark Moth, man. I can't give you that much praise. Anyway, the standard Moth engine. Jinzo, Visor Shock, which is interesting that he opted for a Visor Shock. I guess the good thing about Visor Shock is that it answers offerings, while Jinzo doesn't. So I can see why you'd use it. I don't know how much it came in handy with him or for him, but Visor Shock. Triple Dekoichi, double Gearfried. Gearfried's just a really good beat stick here, and one Newdoria. Then you have your triple Sphere because more alert targets, best one in the game. Probably besides. No, I think I'd go with Sphere. I think Sphere is better than Jinzo. Anyway, triple Allure, Dark Moth, triple Dust, triple Zoma, all very standard. Side deck, there's your second Jinzo here. Your one DD Crow. I don't think DD Crow is that good in this format. I really don't. Double Offerings to the Doomed. You gotta have it. Warrior Limb. People are scared of that matchup. One Trap Jammer. Very, very cute. Probably works like once, then people are gonna probably play around it. But cute card nonetheless. Top 4, here we go. Alright, we got my boy. We got my boy here. My boy, Terra Master. This is the guy that helped me. We worked together for this Spellproof Armor deck, and wait a minute. Does that deck look familiar? Is that the deck that I profiled? With a Blasphere. But the deck that I profiled? We have a top 4 Spellproof Armor list here. He went 6-0 in Swiss. Did not lose a single match in Swiss here. Then won his top 8 match, so 7-0. He went 7-1 overall. That's crazy. Spellproof Armor. Good deck. Like, you guys should genuinely try this. I'm not going to go super in depth here. If you want a more in-depth rundown, check the cards. My link to my deck profile will be there. But triple Jinzo, you know, all the good dark machines in the format. Double Allure because you don't want to lose too many machines. Offerings, you need it. Zoma, you need it. Prideful, that's your Moth answer. Skill Successor, trap that works with Jinzo. Double Gearfried, Gaia. Double Gaia, Blastsphere, third Offerings, Warrior Limb, Conflict. You side into Conflict against any match that isn't Moth. Bada bing, bada boom. Good deck. Top 4. Applause for you, Terra Master. You're fantastic. All right. I mean, you know, 5 Dimension, you're awesome, man. But you're playing Moth, so I can't give you that much praise. Actually, no. 5 Dimension deserves a bit of praise because I think he's the only Dark Moth deck that has been doing has been consistently hopping in these top cuts here. Except for Speed Duel League, but I think he just lost due to a tiebreaker. Anyway, fantastic player, but like I said, Dark Moth. Moth Engine, Gap, Newdoria, Koichi, Sphere Kariba. Ooh, Night Beam. I think Night Beam is, yeah. I think, like, you know, it's an offerings answer. It's good. It's definitely good. and you can probably like go in with some Night Beam before you commit to your like your overall Moth play. And yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's good. Allure. Gotta run offerings. Run offerings in your deck. I think you should main deck it. That's my opinion. Zoma. And Cocoon. You gotta run Cocoon. Double Jinzo on the side. I guess you probably switch it out for the Gap based on your matchup here. What are you gonna like more? Lava Golem. I'm not sure what he sides it in against. Maybe against the Mirror? Probably against the Mirror. Double Dust. And one Wild Tornado, which is very interesting. Maybe just if his opponent is running back row as well, in case they want to pop it. I'm not sure, but Wild Tornado is it's pretty cute, I must say. I like it. So yeah, top 4, 5 dimension, fantastic player, and yeah, not surprising to see him here in top 4. But now, let's move on to our second place list. Here's a well-known name in the community. We have Art LeQuint here. You guys already knew that he was in the top 2 here. I mean, I hope he did. You didn't watch the finals? It's in the cards. Check it out. Fantastic match. Fantastic player. I think he should have ran 3 Jinzos in his main deck, but he also performs better than me, so I can't say that much. Double Jinzo, triple Gear Freak, triple Command Knight, 1 Gaia, double Sphere, triple Offerings, triple Dust, triple Zoma. All extremely standard, except he dropped a Jinzo, and he dropped a Gaia for those 2 Sphere Karibos. I think that's necessary because the mirror is super, I guess like luck based, you could say. Basically, you have an answer to Jinzo, or you lose. That's how the mirror basically works in this format. So running 5 answers to Jinzo in the main deck instead of just your 3 offerings is extremely essential. And yeah, I think that's why he's probably running it. That'd be my guess. I think it's definitely the right call there. Side deck is the Gaps and a 3rd Jinzo if he feels like he needs it. The Lava Golem, the 3rd Sphere, and the RFI ready for intercepting. No extra deck because he's a bad player. He didn't win my tournament, so obviously he's a bad player. Yeah, fantastic job. I mean, it's your standard conflict deck. And, I mean, it's your standard plus Sphere. But, yeah, no, fantastic job to Art. Fantastic player. And he has topped every single tournament. He's been in the finals of every tournament this format so far, except for 1, which is amazing. So, fantastic player. Shout out to him. And let's move on to the first place list. Whew! Okay, we have first place. Another guy from the French community. And, is this last format Conflict Warrior? Is this a meta call? I don't know. I'm honestly still a little bit confused about this deck. I cannot lie. I mean, he won, right? So, like, I don't want to immediately judge. But, first off, we have double Gap. I think Gap is the worst monster to run in the Conflict Warrior deck because the goal of this deck is just OTK, right? So, Gap is the only monster that doesn't offer an OTK with every monster in your deck. It offers it with Gearfried and Gaia and Zoma, but it does not offer an OTK with Command Knight, so that could actually come up to be a issue sometimes. Hadez, obviously, fantastic. Stops monsters you kill, stops their effects, and 50 over Jinzo, that can be relevant. And along with that, he just, he actually goes for the OTKs with every single monster, so that makes sense. Beyond that, we actually have a fairly standard Conflict Warrior deck, just 1 less Command Knight than normal. You need the offerings. Dust is natural. Kunai with Chain is very interesting, especially since it can't equip to Gearfried. I guess it can help go for those OTKs that you'd normally miss out on with your Gap, so that could be relevant. But overall, Kunai's a very interesting call here, especially with Jinzo in the format. But, yeah, no, it panned out for him, especially in the finals. So, yeah, nice to see Kunai. Nice to see that card come back, and apparently it's still good. That's cool. And double Zoma. You gotta have your Zoma. Going off to the side deck here. Once again, very interesting. Double Golden Ladybug. I mean, with Burn coming back, not a bad card to have. Especially with the Twisted in the side. Also not bad to have with Burn coming back. I don't know if... No, he was not the one that faced SDL Killer. That was Terramaster in top 8. 1 DD Crow. Once again, I still don't think DD Crow is that good. 2 copies of Nightmare Wheel. And I already said the Twisted Personality in the side. And not the standard extra deck. This really does feel like last format Inner Conflict. But regardless, it really panned out for him. So, like, yo, huge props to you. Fantastic job winning my tournament. And, yeah, man, I do believe he made a deck profile on this. So actually, like, breaking down all of his choices. He should have more insight into his own deck than I should. So that should be linked in the description. If it's not there, I'm sorry. I forgot. But it should be there. But yeah, huge shout out to you, RPR Rick, for winning my tournament with Conflict Warrior. Conflict Warrior, 2 of them made in top 8. They were the 2 in the finals. Conflict Warrior is absolutely crazy deck. So yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. I am back to my bi-daily, every second day content, as you guys can potentially tell. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep this rolling. Also, if you're not already a part of my Discord, it's the top link in the description. Go down there, join my Discord. Anyway, that's a wrap, guys. I'll catch you guys all not tomorrow, but the following day for another video. Peace.